Good morning students, welcome to the online classes of Triveni Memorial Senior Secondary School. Today we are going to start the second section of our Unit 5 for I English Reader book. I'll go through the chapter, we'll read the chapter and explain to you. Okay, the story is written by Ruskin Bond, that is an Indo-English writer. Okay, let's start. I first saw the leopard when I was crossing the small stream at the bottom of the hill. The ravine was so deep that for most of the day it remained in shadow. This encouraged many birds and animals to emerge from cover during the hours of daylight. Few people ever passed that way. As a result, the ravine had become a little heaven for wildlife. Now, what the writer is saying that he first saw the leopard when he was crossing a small stream at the bottom of the hill. He was living in the forest for some time for nature sightseeing. Okay, the ravine is a place down. Like if you see it from the hills, you will see deep down. Okay, so it was very much deep. So for the most of the day, it remained in shadow. So there were a lot of animals and birds that could come out. Considering that they can easily move on because there is no light, so they could be easily seen. Few people ever passed through that area. So ravine had become a little heaven for wildlife. They could easily roam there. Below the cottage of the writer was a forest of oak and maple and Himalayan rhododendron. That is, rhododendron is a type of a type of tree actually. A narrow path twisted its way down through the trees. At the bottom of the hill, a path led onto a grassy wall surrounded by wild dog roses. The streams ran close by the walls, tumbling over smooth pebbles. Now there was a narrow path twisted its way down through the trees. Okay. Within the trees there was the path to move on. At the bottom of the hill, a path led on to grassy walls. That was the grasslands over there. Okay. That was surrounded by wild dog roses. Dog roses, these are wild plants. Okay. The streams ran close by the walls. The streams were running over there, the water stream. Okay. And tumbling over the smooth pebbles, that is, going through the smooth pebbles. Nearly every morning, the writer heard the cry of the barking deer. He could easily hear the sound of the deer. He could see pine martens and a handsome red fox. That is, red fox animals, pine martens are also the animals over there. He recognized the footprints of a bear. He could easily see that the bear was here with the help of the footprints over there. As he had not come to take anything from the jungle, the birds and animals soon grew accustomed to see the writer's face. Because he was not there to take anything, the birds and animals knew that there is no harm for them from this person, so they came to him face to face quite often. After some time, the approach did not disturb them. Okay, the writer approaching towards the animal would not disturb them. The langurs in the oak and rhododendron trees, who at first would go leaping through the branches at my approach, now watched me with some curiosity as they munched up the tender green shoots of the oak. Now the langurs, a type of monkey in the oak and rhododendron trees, would go leaping through the branches when the writer would approach them. The langurs would often go through them. Okay, now they watched him more curiously through the trees. Okay, moving from one tree to the another. However, one evening as he passed, he heard them chattering in the trees, and it was not because of the writer actually. Okay, it was as though the langurs were trying to warn me of some hidden danger. The langurs were trying to warn the writer about some hidden danger. A shower of pebbles came rattling down the steep hillside. So, that is, a few pebbles came down towards the writer. When the writer looked up to see an orange gold leopard perched on a rock about 20 feet on him. So the writer found that there was leopard over there, 20 feet above him. It was not looking towards him, but had its head thrust attentively forward in the direction of the ravine. So actually there was a leopard, and leopard was not looking towards the writer. Actually, the leopard was concentrating over the ravine. Okay. It must have sensed the presence because it slowly turned its head and looked down the writer. So the leopard slowly turned down towards the writer. It seemed a little puzzled at my presence there. So the leopard was a little puzzled over this. Then, to give myself courage, I clapped my hands sharply. Now, to give himself courage, the writer clapped his hands sharply over there. The leopard sprang away into the thickets, making absolutely no sound. Now, the leopard sprang away into the thickets, making no sound. I had disturbed the animal in its quest for food. Now, the writer thought that he had disturbed the animal while he was searching for the food. But a little later, I heard the quickening cry of a barking deer as it fled through the forest. The hunt was still on. Now the writer heard about a barking deer. That means the hunt was still on. The barking deer had been running to save its life from the leopard. The leopard, like other members of the cat family, is nearing extinction in India, and I was surprised to find one so close to Missouri. Now the leopard is also on the verge of being extinct. So the writer was very much surprised to see a leopard in Missouri. Probably the deforestation that had been taking place in the surrounding hills had driven the deer into this green valley. Now, because of the deforestation going on, the leopard must have came to this valley in hunt of food and to hide himself from the hunters. It was some weeks before I saw the leopard again, although now after quite a few weeks the writer could see the leopard again. I was often made aware of its preservance. At times I felt certain that I was being followed. Once when I was late getting home, I saw two bright eyes staring at me from a thicket. I stood still, my heart banging away against my ribs. Then the eyes danced away and I realized they were only fireflies. Now, the writer says that after quite a few weeks, he saw the leopard again, and almost daily he could sense that he was followed. Once he saw that there were two bright eyes. There were two bright eyes in the night that was staring at him, and the poet was afraid, and he kept on walking, and his heart was beating very fast. Later he saw that they were just the fireflies. Okay. In May and June, when the hills were brown and dry, it was always cool and green near the stream, when ferns and long grasses continued to thrive. Now in May and June, when the hills were brown and dry, it was always cool and green nature over there, weather over there, near the stream. So one day he found the remains of a barking deer that had been partially eaten. That was not completely eaten by the leopard. I wondered why the leopard had not hidden the remains of his meal. Probably he had been disturbed while eating. So the writer thought, why the leopard had not hidden his meal? Because leopard does this. After filling his belly, the leopard hides the remaining meal for next time. But it didn't do so. Why? Because it must have been disturbed by somebody. Climbing the hill, I met a party of hunters resting beneath the oaks. Now he found that there was a party of hunters. They were hunters over there. They asked me if I had seen a leopard. They asked if he had seen the leopard over there. He said that he had not. They said that they know there is a leopard in the forest. Okay. The hunters had seen the carcass of the deer and the leopard's pug marks, and they kept coming to the forest because the hunters had seen there was a deer half eaten, and they also saw the footprints of the leopard over there. So to find, they came again and again. Almost every evening he heard their guns banging over there, that is shooting over there, for they were ready to fire at almost everything. The hunters were ready to fire at anything. There's a leopard about, they told me, you should carry a gun. There's a leopard roaming around, you should carry a gun. The hunter said this to the writer. I don't have one, I don't need one. There were fewer birds to be seen, and even the langurs had moved on because there were hunters. Birds and animals moved away. I thought no more of the men. They were unpredictable and to be avoided if possible. Now, the writer thought to avoid himself from the hunters. One day after crossing the stream, I climbed Palitiba, a bleak scrub-covered hill where no one lived. There was a stiff undertaking because there was no path to the top and I had to scramble with the help of rocks and roots. Now one day the writer reached Palitiba hill and there was nobody over there. There was no path to the top. He had scrambled up, he had climbed up over the hill with the help of rocks and roots. At the top was a plateau with a fine pine tree. There were pine trees over there. Okay, their upper branches catching the wind and humming softly. Basically, there was nothing over there, only the plants and the trees. There he found the ruins of what must have been the first settlers. Just a few piles of rubble, now overgrown with weeds, sorrel, dandelion, and nettles. So there were quite few trees and plants over there. Okay, as he walked through the roofless ruins, he was struck by the silence that surrounded him, and the silence was so absolute that it seemed to be shouting in my ears. He suddenly felt there was very much silence over there, and he thought that there is something wrong over there. But there was something else of which he was becoming increasingly aware. The strong odor of one of the cat family. And with the order here is smell. Okay. He was very much aware of the smell of the cat family now. He paused and looked about, but he was all alone. There was no movement of dry leaf or loose stone. There was nothing like that. The ruins were for the most part open to the sky. Their rattles had collapsed and joined together to form a long passage like the entrance to mine. This dark cavern seemed to lead down. The smell was stronger when I crossed this wall. Basically, there was a den sort of thing where, or you can say there was a cave sort of thing over there where the leopard was actually taking rest. And the poet, wanting to see what was actually there, started moving towards it. And he could easily smell the odor of the leopard again. Okay. He stopped again and waited there, wondering if he had discovered the lair of the leopard. If he had discovered the leopard, he wondered if the animal was now at rest after a night's hunt, whether the animal was resting or not. Perhaps it was crouched there in the dark, watching me and recognizing me as a man who walked alone in the forest without a weapon. Leopard must have recognized him that he is the only man who walked around the forest without a weapon. So he recognized that he could trust him. Okay. I like to think that he was there and that he knew me and that he acknowledged my visit in the friendliest way by ignoring me altogether. Now the writer says, this is the best thing I could have even thought of. The leopard had trusted the writer and what he did, he acknowledged him in the most friendliest way, ignoring the writer. Without attacking him, he kept on resting. Okay. I did not venture any further, that is, the writer did not move any further. I did not seek physical contact or even another glimpse of that beautiful creature springing from rock to rock. Now he did not meant to disturb the leopard actually, so he came back. It was the trust of the leopard he wanted and he earned it. Okay, the leopard gave him the trust. But did the leopard, trusting one man, make the mistake of trusting others? Did he trust others too? Because next day, coming from the path of the stream, shouting and beating their drums were the hunters. Now the hunters were all there. Okay, they were shouting, they were beating the drums. They had a long bamboo pole across their shoulders and slung from the pole, feet up, head down, was the lifeless body of the leopard. It had been shot in the neck and in the head. Actually, the neck and the head was shot. The leopard was shot by the hunters. Okay. We told you there was a leopard, they shouted. The hunters shouted in great good humor. Isn't he a fine specimen? You can see, this is a leopard, we told you. Yes, I said, he was a beautiful leopard. Now the writer was sad and he said yes, the leopard was very beautiful and killed. I walked home through the silent forest. It was very silent, almost as though the birds and animals knew their trust had been violated. Everything was silent because the birds and animals knew that their trust of trusting the human was broken by the human itself. I remembered the lines of a poem by D.H. Lawrence. Now the poet remembered the lines by the great poet that is D.H. Lawrence as he climbed the steep and lonely path to the house. The words echoed him in the mind. There was room in the world for a mountain lion and me. That means we could easily live together, and the world was not smaller enough. Okay, we could have easily lived along with the nature. If we could not have disturbed it, we could have easily lived in a better manner. So this was the story by one of the best writers ever in English. He was in the English poet writer. The name of the writer, as I told you, is Ruskin Bond. Okay. So I hope you understood the story, the beautiful story, in a wonderful manner. So before leaving, I would like to say, please like the video, share the video, and please press the notification bell icon for further more videos. I hope we'll meet in the next video soon. So before leaving, I would say, stay safe, be happy. So thank you and have a nice day. See you again.